This is the Emmaljunga Mondial Deluxe on the classic chassis. It's one of the more popular models from Emmaljunga, and in my opinion, it is the most classic looking of strollers on the market that maintains a certain modern standard in relation to functionality. You need to be aware though, if you want to buy this stroller, don't just be spellbound by how it looks. It does have a beautiful classic look. It is a very nice stroller, but a nice stroller does not necessarily mean that it is a good stroller. Good is very specific to use, and so the use of your stroller should determine why you buy the stroller. In relation to its weight, it clocks in at 16.5 kilos. And in relation to carrying capacity, it only offers 20 kilos, that being 5 kilos in the underslogging shopping basket and 15 kilos in the seat. Now we have the bag mounted, but the seat carries up to 15 kilos. That might feel small in relation to a lot of other strollers. It is actually enough to take your child all the way up to the point at which he won't be using a stroller anymore. However, it is kind of small in relation to other strollers of this stroller's size and weight overall. In relation to performance, so we have just come back from a long trip out on the snowy winter trails and so on here, and this stroller is very functional in those sort of conditions. So it's not a dedicated terrain stroller, but it is very terrain capable, very off-road capable, and quite nice in the winter if you live in an area with some snow. It has those large 16-inch wheels that are nice and thin, and it feels like it cuts through the snow as you're going. In relation to driving this stroller in the city or in a shopping mall, it is going to be a little bit less maneuverable, a little bit more clunky, and a lot larger for moving your way through crowds of people and doorways and so on. Maneuverability is primarily because it does not have swivel wheels in the front, which a lot of strollers do have. In relation to child comfort, it's quite nice. The bag, I would say, is excellent. It's a very large, spacious bag with a lot of functionality. You can lift up the mattress in the back as your child starts to try to sit up. And it has a lot of padding and thermo functions and so on. Very nice. The seat is quite large in relation to other seats on the market. Not the largest, but it's definitely of a comparable size with anything else that you would expect from a full-size stroller. In relation to comfort of use other than when driving this stroller, it is very easy to fold, but it is kind of large and heavy. The mechanisms are simple. They're easy and obvious to use. In relation to the textiles, it's quite easy to take off most of the textiles of both the bag and the seat, but a little extra care is needed in relation to the textiles on the Mondial model, partially because they have high quality textiles that include a lot of leather very often, and leather needs its own sort of care. And also, just a note in relation to the canopy is not easily removable from the frame. You actually have to drill out a rivet to take it off and wash it in the washing machine. So that means it is a little bit extra work in order to keep the canopy clean. From the mechanical point of view, I've always really liked the classic chassis in relation to repair because it does have a lot of very simple mechanisms. It has a lot of sturdy design. It's made primarily with metal, and when things do go wrong with it, they are kind of obvious and easy to fix. There's not a lot of like internally contained mechanisms. So there are things that break on it. The hinges can sometimes break. The springs on the brake bar can sometimes break. Sometimes the rivets have a tendency to loosen, leading to some instability when you're putting up and down the chassis. But in general, all these things are something you actually could fix at home. You might need power tools when it comes to rivets. You might need a few parts, but it's quite easy to fix, and it is very stable and very sturdy in relation to its mechanics. I would like to make a special note, however, regarding the wheels. It has these larger 16-inch wheels than a lot of their other models. And while that's very nice, again, for driving through snow and on terrain, because they're larger, because the stroller is heavy, a lot of extra stress is put on the wheels. And we have noticed that unlike the 12-inch version, there is a higher chance that the rim tends to bend if you're not careful with it. And then you get kind of this wobbly, lopsided movement.
in which case you actually need to replace the wheel. Additionally, there is, again, extra stress put on the wheels due to weight and due to size, and we haven't noticed that they have in any way switched out the locking mechanisms from the smaller version, and the locking mechanisms do sometimes break, also as a result of stress. So, but overall, it's very mechanically sound and solid stroller. It's built to last. Okay, in conclusion, while this stroller is quite nice from a repair point of view, and it is very solid, it is not for everybody. It's definitely designed with a specific customer in mind. And I would say, in my opinion, looking at the stroller, that the primary focus in its design was maintaining this classic style, right? Bringing this classic style into the modern environment. So, you know, it has like the white wheel tires, the shiny chrome, and a lot of effort put into putting very nice textiles on the stroller. I would say that the fabrics are of a luxury quality you don't find in a lot of other brands, a lot of other premium brands. But in relation to functionality, even though it has really good materials and is solidly constructed, it is suboptimal in relation to its functionality in the way a lot of other strollers are judged. So it's quite large, it's quite heavy, and it's not maneuverable. These were not points, these are not selling points for the stroller. If you're looking for something in relation to how you're going to use it, you need to be aware of these things. It's not very maneuverable, it is very large, and it is quite heavy. So what does that mean for you if you want to buy a stroller like this? What would be the optimal use for this? I would say that this stroller is very useful if you tend to use your stroller the whole time while walking with it. So if you want to use this with a car, you need to have a really large car, an SUV or something, in order to comfortably throw it in the back and take it out. If you tend to use public transport, you need to live in a part of the world that has large enough buses or trains or trams that there's going to be space for your stroller. Again, it's not the most optimal stroller for using in cities and malls. It's functional enough, but that would not be its optimal use. But if you live in the countryside and you tend to walk a lot with your stroller, then this would really be possibly a perfect stroller for you. And of course, if you like the way it looks quite a lot, you want that classic style. You also want to have a large enough area inside your home to store this stroller. The fabrics are very sort of eco-friendly, but a downside to this means that they have a tendency to mildew if you live in like a wetter part of the world like it is here, and they have a tendency to sun fade a bit more than a lot of other brands if you store it outside. Lastly, in relation to price, it is on the upper end of strollers on the market, but I kind of feel like the materials justify that. Again, good materials, solid construction. So the real question is this sort of stroller proper to the use you intend to put it to? And is the beauty of it worth any sort of detrimental effects on how comfortable it's going to be for you to use this stroller? Overall, though, we do like this stroller, and it is very popular, so it is a good stroller in general. Anyway, we hope that you found this video useful, and if you did, then we would ask that you subscribe, as it helps us to continue making videos in the future. Thank you.